Hey guys, it has been about 2 days since I put up a video. I put the one up on my channel recently talking about what I want to do with this channel, and this is the first thing that I wanted to do was a review of my PC. I've got all the parts right here, and right here you can see I don't actually have the parts in the boxes because I can't do like a build video or anything because I've already got it put together. As you can probably see some of the glamour footage I'm putting up right now. And so for the first video on its technical, for the PC side of the channel anyway, I'm going to review all the parts in my computer. First I'm going to just talk about why I chose the parts, and then in future videos I'm actually going to review each part and how I think it's performing, how I like it, why I chose what I chose, and that's about it. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so for the first part I chose, as you can see I kind of took it off. This is my 4790K. It's the CPU that I chose to use. And I chose this because, one, I actually got it half off because it was a Christmas present, but also because for video editing and gaming, it is honestly the perfect processor to buy. I could have got the 4790, but I want to do some overclocking at some point, and I'm going to put a video of that when I get to it. Since I don't have water cooling at this point, it's probably not a good idea. I can probably do a mild overclock. The specs on this thing, it's got a 4.0 GHz base clock, 4.4 GHz boost clock. I love this processor because I went from an old MacBook that, I guess old in, PC terms. I've had it since 2012, and I went from rendering videos in like 5 minutes to rendering videos in about 40 seconds. So that's, when it comes to games and rendering videos, and since that's what I wanted to do with this channel, this processor is perfect for what I wanted to use it for. The next part I'm going to talk about is my motherboard, since you don't really have to zoom in to see it since it's so freaking big. It's a ATX form factor. It's the Gigabyte Gaming 3. It doesn't come with all the fancy features that the 5 and 7 do, like the built-in Wi-Fi, but I solved that by actually getting a TP-Link Wi-Fi adapter. It was like 20 bucks on Amazon, totally worth it. I like this board because it has the little red line going through it. I think that's kind of cool. It does kind of throw off the balance of the blue and white that I was going with in my build. But it's not really a big deal since, it's aesthetics, and at the end of the day you want power, not aesthetics, unless you're an aesthetics guy, and then, that's for you. LJ 1150, so that it will fit my i7 4790K. It's a decent overclocking board since it's a Z97. It's worth it as far as what I wanted to do, like I said, video editing and things like that. Gaming, and I'll actually probably be overclocking a little bit so that I can do Let's Plays and things for you guys as well. So this motherboard was perfect for what I wanted to go with. So the next parts, obviously for a gaming PC build or any kind of PC build, you need a hard drive, and I have 3 of them. I have a PNY 120 GB SSD that I'm using for my operating system, which is Windows 8.1. I'm not going to show that, everybody knows what it looks like. Then I have a 1 TB Western Digital Black. I turn it on its side, I guess, to show it a little bit. 7200 RPM drive. It's a decent drive for what I want to do. Just put games and videos and everything else on it. And then I've got a 120 GB Blaze SSD. I could have gone with a 240, but since I bought these parts separately, I didn't actually get them all at the same time. I figured 2 120s would be better because I could get one 120 later in the year last year, and then I could get another 120 earlier in the year this year when I got some more money in for my job and whatnot. So I use the Blaze for games. I put all the games that I'm playing right now or anything I'm going to do a Let's Play of. I've got Dying Light on there right now. That game is awesome, by the way. And anything else that I just feel like putting on there, whether it's videos, like I'm putting these videos I'm doing right now on it because it's easier to render them from a SSD because I can pull them off and import them and do everything. Rendering to an SSD is so much easier than rendering to a hard drive since the hard drive has a spinning disk and SSD is just like a flash drive essentially. And that's pretty much it for the hard drives. After the hard drives I actually have, you have to have RAM to run a PC, right? So I went with, it's like $80. It's just the 2x4 8 GB of Viper RAM. I'll show a little video of that now so you can see it. It basically just, they're blue, so it matches my build. I had to go with blue RAM, which is weird because I don't know why this RAM was $10 more than the red version. It doesn't really make any sense to me. I guess it's just like, oh, you want blue aesthetics, so we're going to charge you $10 more because why not? You know, it's 1600 megahertz. It's not exactly, you know, the fastest RAM in the world, but generally, unless you're using an APU, there's no point in having fast RAM. So, fast RAM's not really going to get you anywhere, unless you're just, you know, going with DDR4, and then why not just get, you know, the faster RAM just for all that power, you know. That's pretty much it for the RAM. Now I'm going to talk about the graphics card. Now, for graphics card, it's actually a relatively interesting choice because when it comes to a graphics card, you have to make a decision based on what you're going to do. And if you go with too cheap of a graphics card, you bottleneck the rest of the system. And so you have to find that sweet spot. Now, generally, I like to say that the sweet spot is in between. Depending on what you want, it's either $200 to $300 or $300 to $400. I try not to spend more than $350 to $360 on a card unless I'm building a PC like I built here. For me, this one ended up being $349.99 after I price matched it at Fry's and price matched it with Newegg. I chose the GeForce GTX 970 from MSI. I actually had the one from EVGA, but it was giving me some issues because I believe whoever had the card before me decided to mess with it, tinker with it, and broke it, and Fry's still sold it to me. I don't know why. But yeah, I was having a lot of issues with it. But this one I have no issues with. I had no problem getting this thing to overclock to about 1541 megahertz because MSI's app actually won't let you go any higher than 1541 because the power limit max is 110%. I don't know what Nvidia was thinking with that. Why it's only 110%, because you could easily get this card to 1600 megahertz, no problem. But it handles games relatively well. Even at 1080p, or even at 4K really, it handles games pretty well. But it's not really a 4K card, and you'll have to turn some settings down. 2K, you should be just fine on most games, except for like games that just came out, like Dying Light. Even at 1080p, I've found that even with VSync on, I have to turn down some settings sometimes because it will dip down, and even if I turn VSync off, I'll get anywhere between 40 and 80 frames, depending on where I am, because just the particle effects in that game are ridiculous. But it is a perfect card for anybody who wants to not spend too much money. Like, a step up to a 980 really isn't, there's no reason to go to a 980 since the 980 is $200 more, and overclocking this, you can get better specs out of it than the reference 980. So using this card is a great sweet spot at $349. It's perfect. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better card out of Nvidia. And MSI's Twin Frozer 5 is really nice. I enjoy MSI because it has the 0 decibel fan mode. So at 50 degrees, one fan will start spinning, and then at 60 degrees, all the fans will start spinning. But for a while there, if you're not used to that, you'll look at it and it'll scare you because be like, hey, is my card not working? Why aren't the fans spinning? But that's just what it does. So that's nice. And that's why I went with that card, because if you're going to go with a graphics card, you need something that's going to complement your build. And with my 4790K and my 3 SSDs and 8 gigs of RAM, I wanted something that was going to run games decently and didn't want to bottleneck my whole system by getting something that was cheaper, like a 750 Ti or 760 or 660 or something like that. Not really worth getting those when I can bump up an extra $100 and get this 970. It was going to last me 2 years at 1080p, and if I decide to go up to 2K, I might need to throw another one in there in SLI, but for now, that's really all you pretty much need. So that's why I chose the parts I did in my computer. And now I'm going to talk about the case that I chose, because it is honestly one of the best cases I bought for $100 in a long time. Alright, so for the case, I went with the Thermaltake Chaser A41, the Snow Edition, so it's like white. You actually can't find this on like sites like PC Part Pick. You actually have to go to Thermaltake's site or Amazon. Amazon had one left when I went to get it, so I'll just kind of lift it up here for you guys. Basically, it's big, really big. I can show you, kind of looks like that. You've got, I'll roll some of the footage right now so you can kind of look at it, look what's inside my computer and how everything's built. Yeah, it's really big. It's got USB 3.0 like pretty much every other case out there right now. I found it was really easy to build in, and at first I had no idea what that little flap on the side was, but I found out recently it's actually for headphones. So that was kind of interesting. I don't actually have a headset I can hang on there. I probably should get one if I'm going to start making these videos more often. And, you know, I really like the case so far. I like the little clips on the front, you can actually just, clip onto it and pull it out so that you don't have to unscrew anything or break anything. Because there are some cases where you actually have to pop it out and it's hard to get to, but this one just has little clips, and they're blue and black, so they match the blue and white aesthetic, and it's kind of a blue, white, and black case, so the inside of the case is black, which is nice. The other thing that I got for my computer, and I'll pull it out, as I've got everything kind of in the way, is, to power everything, you kind of need a power supply, and if I don't talk about that, then basically you guys are like, hey, how does your computer run? The power supply I got is just a 750 watt from, try and get this in a good angle, there we go, yeah, it's just 750 watt power supply from Thermaltake. I know it's a bit overkill for what I've got in there, since the 970 doesn't really use up all that much power. I haven't pushed over, I think, 450 watts yet. At least from what I've been looking at under load, I think I might sometimes get up to around 460, 470. But I haven't checked. But this is a bit overkill for my build. I may be over-exaggerating a little bit. It's not modular, so it's not really, wasn't really a concern for me whether or not, my cables were managed perfectly, since it's my first really big gaming PC build. And that's about it as far as what I put in my PC. There are a couple of little things I put in, like, you can probably see it in the background here just a little bit, my BlackWidow Chroma. That's what I went for as far as my, turn it right side up. That's what I went for with my keyboard. My mouse is just a generic MMO gaming mouse. It's a RedDragon Perdition. This is the box. You can kind of see it a little bit. I can grab my mouse and show it to you in a future video if you want. It's basically just a cheap knockoff of a of a Razer or anything like that. Optical drive. You don't really need them anymore, but I got one. I probably should have got it at Fry's. It'd been like 20 bucks. I ended up spending about 30. Speakers, just generic plug-and-play speakers. Nothing crazy. Just some something to hear sound with. So I'm not really too concerned with sound at the moment. Maybe eventually I will be. And that's pretty much it for my build. I'll roll some really cool footage right now so that you can look at it, and I will see you in the next video.